kind of do a live Q&A. I've been doing some consulting with Waverly High School in Waverly, Ohio for a little over a year now. It's actually been a couple years since I've been kind of talking to their coaches and stuff. Both of their weight rooms and their new weight room is about to be outfitted by us. So that's kind of how the relationship started there. My boss, Matt, had been working with them on their equipment for a few years now, and he put us in contact. And I've kind of been helping the sport coaches and strength coaches out for a couple years now in the weight room. And then this summer we started really getting more involved and kind of heavily consulting with them and kind of helping them with their programming. So the deal was they kind of ran a system similar to what we do. And then Matt put us in contact, and they were interested in a little more help with that. So basically, the kids had been exposed to the conjugate system that I'm a big proponent of, and they asked for a little bit of help, and we've been doing that for a few months, and it's been going real well. So the reason I'm doing this instead of, holding a meeting at the school and dragging parents out of their house and all that stuff, I thought I would hop on here and field any questions anybody had, and then what I can do later on, I'm pretty sure this is my first live Facebook video, but I think I can post it for 24 hours. So I'll copy the link and paste it up, so any parents from Waverly will throw it up in there. They have a football group, and that can be shared, just to give kind of a general overview of what we're doing down there. So a little bit of background on myself. I was a Division I strength coach for 10 years at University at Buffalo. Was a heavy supporter and user of the conjugate system that was popularized in the States by Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell. Now, as awesome as it is that Louis has done what he's done with the system, we also kind of have to deal with that. A lot of times there's kind of a stigma. For those of you that don't know, Westside Barbell is a powerlifting gym, and he took this system and put it in place with his powerlifters, and they've done very well. What I did is put it in place with college athletes, and we did very well. So there's always kind of that stigma of it's for powerlifters and stuff. But it's really not. The original system was developed in the Communist Soviet Union, and it was originally developed to train different Olympic athletes. So the very basic roots of the system are rooted in athlete development, not powerlifting. Louis took it and manipulated it, and thankfully he did do what he did with the system and put it on his powerlifters. But sometimes we have to deal with that. So there's kind of that. I always like to put that out there that we're not using a powerlifting system for athletes. It was originally designed for athletes, and that's why it's been so successful. So I was a college coach, strength coach for 10 years, heavy user of the conjugate system. I was at a college that was very young in its Division I development. We were, I believe, within our first 10 years. So we were not getting Alabama kids, LSU kids, Clemson kids, great kids, awesome kids to work with, but not top tier level athletes. And within a few years of this system, we started seeing some great results. We started seeing a lot of injury reduction. And it was actually after about 7 or 8 years or so, I decided to write a book on how we put this system in, because I felt we were actually starting to have some backup to what we were preaching, the results. So wrote the book. And like I said, Coach Crabtree was kind of proponent of this system before I ever showed up. He was doing it most of the time, kind of did some other stuff. But in the last couple of years, it's kind of come back to it, and things have been going real well. So that's kind of my background. Now, to kind of talk about Waverly and what they're doing, they have a very unique system as far as training their kids. I haven't seen it much, but I think they're way ahead of the curve on this. I think this is where strength and conditioning needs to go. I think it's a great model. I think one thing that's very cool about it is with the way they set it up is they now have a weightlifting class all throughout the day. It's available all day long. They have 2 separate coaches that run it. They kind of split the day up, and then they have some other responsibilities. But the big thing is the kids can get in and get their lifts in during the school day. So it's not only great for the kids, it's great for the parents because they don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn and get their kids to school for 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever lifting class. They can just go to their normal school day and get their training in. And they don't have to go after. A lot of kids have to go and, stay after school, or even worse yet, stay after practice till 7 or 8 o'clock at night just to get a lift in. But Waverly set up and offered a weightlifting class throughout the day so the kids can get their training in. And I think it's awesome. Another advantage to that is whether this is your phys ed class or just a weightlifting class like these guys have, you're going to get some kids that may not be athletes, and we're starting to see this, interested in weightlifting. Okay, so the typical kid that isn't might not be apt to excel at a team sport setting, may excel at weightlifting because it's kind of a solo thing. It's just them. So you get some of your introverted kids that may not be into that. They'll go into the class. They start to get into weightlifting. They might find that kind of their own little niche in physical training and take off from there. Or they might even start they get in and start being around the athletes and stuff, and relationships are developed there, and they might be playing a sport before you know it. So it's very cool. All the kids go in and do a good job. So that's kind of their setup. So basically they have a weight room inside the main building of the school. They have another one inside their stadium building or their arena. And then they're working on a third, actually. And we actually have this is a small school. It's not a super rich district, but they've had great community support. And by making this a class, they've been able to kind of fund some of this stuff through curriculum money. So by doing that, it helps. But they do have great support from their community too. So we actually have, if you go on our YouTube page and look up Elite FTS, on our channel, there is a couple videos where their school board president, Josh Hobbs, kind of goes through the process and how they've done that and how they've kind of built the program up. And Coach Crabtree's on there too, and they kind of talk about how they built the program up and how they're getting momentum rolling. And I've seen this through other schools too. If you have someone in place that will get the equipment in and kind of run a good program and get community involvement increased in the program, it will grow, and the school doesn't have to spend a ton of money. It's, you can get some money from outside sources. So that's what they're doing. They're doing a great job. They're getting the kids in during the day, so the parents aren't having to truck everybody in really early or real late after school. So that's kind of how they're running. And then this fall, so what I'm doing now is I come down about once a month. Come down and just first time I came down, we came down, put up a simple workout up, watched the kids train, evaluated where they're at. We try to coach them as much as we can, and then from there I'll kind of see where they're at and then write the program for the next month or so, and then I come follow up in 4 or 5 weeks, depending on the schedule, depending on where the kids are at, and then we kind of reevaluate, and we're going to keep progressing the kids from there. So far, I think it's going very well overall. There's always things that can be improved upon, but I was a little leery to start this program because I wasn't sure how it was going to go if I wasn't here every day. But Coach Crabtree, Coach Gillett, they're doing a great job with the kids. I can see a lot of improvement each time I come down. So you can tell when kids are being coached. It's not just throw the workout up on the board and let them go. They have made definite progress. The biggest difference that anybody can make in an athlete's training is making sure that they are lifting correctly. And I know it sounds really simple and not real sexy, but it's the truth. If you can make sure that your kids are lifting correctly, and then once you have that, if you can teach them how to train and what intent to have in the weight room, you will make the biggest difference on their performance and their health. So we're 2 to 3 months. We're going on to 3 months with this setup. And it's obvious that the technique is now is starting to get there, and I'm super happy with the progress that's going on. Like I said, I'm not here every day. I come down every 4 or 5 weeks, but each time I come down, I see overall improvement. I was in today, and we were doing lower body, and really, I would say overall we're at, I would say 85% proficiency with the movements. So we've got about 10 or 15% of the kids who still need a little bit of work on their form, but for the most part, everybody is doing well. They're at a point now where we have the basics down. They're moving better. The movements look good. Now we can kind of teach them how to train and really start to push in the weight room. So I'm super happy with where we're at on the progress. I think as a coach, I hate to be too positive or get ahead of myself, but if I take a step back and think about how long we've been doing this and what I saw today, and the time that I was down before, overall I'm very happy. That doesn't mean we don't have a long ways to go. I know, we have, for the athletes especially, we have big aspirations and want to do big things. So I get that. We have a long way to go there, but so far I'm very happy with the progress, and I think we're honestly, I think we're right where I was hoping we would be at this point, maybe even a little bit ahead. I'll just use football for an example. We're in the postseason now, so season is hopefully not winding down too fast, but we're in the last part of the season, and these guys are ready. Once off season actually hits and starts, we're ready to hit the ground rolling. Like, they will be ready to go because they're technically proficient at this point. So that's really, really good, because what you'll see too often is people don't pay attention to the details, and they don't make – what's up, Bex? They don't pay attention to the things that matter, like I talked about before, making sure the athletes are moving right, and they just pile intensity on. They pile workload on. They just want to crush the kids. But what I've seen so far is we're ready to kind of take that next step. Meet me in the rack. I know better, Spalek. I know my place. I know better. So things are going great. Like I said, as good as they're doing, I know we have a lot of work to do. And I'm looking forward to the new facility and getting that going. Myself and Matt have been working closely with the coaches and Josh, and it's going to be state of the art. It's going to be better than a lot of colleges, and it's going to make my job with the programming super easy. And I don't want to say easy, I should say efficient, but that's just going to help our kids. Like we're going to be when that thing's done, we're going to be set up to hit the ground running and really hit it hard and make a huge difference. So I'm really happy with the progress so far. Things are going well. And just to kind of touch on football, we're young. We have a young overall team, and I think we're kind of I think we're doing some things, and I very loosely say we because I'm not here all the time, but I think they're doing some things that a lot of people didn't expect. So as these guys grow and mature, it's going to be great, and I'm really looking forward to it. So did you guys have any questions? That's just kind of a background on what I'm doing, what we've been doing here at Waverly. I don't know if there's any parents on here. If you guys had questions, go ahead and throw them in, and I'm going to scroll down through here. I'll gladly answer them. I'm going to scroll down and see if anybody's sent any in. Joe, what's the name of my book? The name of my book is Conjugate You. Kind of came from the method that we follow and we use is conjugate. And I was in the university setting, so I just called it Conjugate You. And so that's kind of what Conjugate You, that's what I went with. But like I said, it's just, I've been very lucky to learn from, honestly, some of the best coaches ever. And I will put my mentors and people I've been lucky enough to learn from against anybody. So that's where that came from. X, what program are you with now? I tuned in late. X, I'm working for a company out of Columbus, Ohio. We sell training equipment, like we set up gyms and stuff, but we also have a huge database. We have a website where we sponsor some of the best strength coaches and strength athletes, and we put up free content. So basically our business model is we sell equipment so that we can keep the business running to provide better coaching and better training information for people. Right now I'm in Waverly, Ohio, and I'm working with a high school down here, kind of helping them with their strength program. They set up their weight rooms through our company. So I'm kind of helping. I come down about once a month and help the strength coaches set up their programming. And then I write the workouts for a month, and then I come back down and check in. I'm just if you're just checking in, I did this for the parents of the students at the school that I'm working with, so they could kind of come in and ask questions if they had any. Just so we didn't have to drag them out to a meeting. But so we let all the kids know we'd be on here tonight, so that's kind of what I'm doing, just answering questions if any of them had them. So I'm not with a team, I guess you could say, but I'm working with many teams, helping a lot of coaches, so things are going well. Hope you are too. All right, I'll hang out for a few more minutes, see if anybody else has some questions. But yeah, just kind of talking about what we're doing at Waverly High School, answering questions. here for a couple more minutes. What's the website? The website is elitefts.com. And I'll give you a little bit of background. Good question, X. So a little bit of background on this website. When I was 14, I had been training for 2 years, and I knew I wanted to be a strength coach. My dad, when I was 14, he kind of mentioned that there was such a job as a strength coach. And, you go in and help athletes get stronger and help make them better. And it was at that point, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. So I was obviously lifting and stuff all the time. That was like my number one priority. So fast forward about 15 years. No, the site came out in 2000. Anyways, our website was established in 1998. So basically my last year of high school, last year of college, I hopped onto the conjugate system X. Very similar to how we trained you guys. We made some modifications. You kind of modify for each level's group. For each group, their level of ability in the weight room. Not so much for their sport, but how are they going to train. And I was on the site all the time. Learned a ton from the site because of the free information they have. And basically, one of the top 5 reasons I was able to land a job as a college strength coach was because of the knowledge and the people that I met through the site. So philosophy is this very, very similar to what we did with you guys. My book is based off of what you guys did, and kind of how you trained and what you guys were able to do, because I think it's for what you guys were able to do at the school you were at, I think is a huge compliment to you guys and what you were able to do. To be a young D1 school and kind of kick ass the way you were able to is a huge, like I said, a huge compliment to you guys and a huge compliment to the system. Nothing that I did, but what you guys were able to do to me is very special. I don't think a lot of other people could have done that. So, just the system, I think the way you guys were able to stay healthy and stuff, I think was a big help. So it's still the same. We're training very similar. Like I said, we modify it to the level of athletes that we have. And when I say level of athletes, that's mainly, like I said, it's their ability in the weight room. How do they look in the weight room? And the more you can advance in the weight room, the more your sport's going to advance. So, yeah, it's very similar to what we did. The book is basically about what you guys did, man. There's the whole first page, I kind of dedicated it to you guys. And when I say you guys, I say the athletes. So I'll send you a copy if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, so now, like with this company that I work with, we do sell equipment. That's a huge part of my job. But I'm also trying to get this system out to people and show them how powerful it is and how well it works, and just trying to help people because it can make a huge difference. And I know that because I did the same thing when I was in college. I wasn't a very good football player. I had no football knowledge. I came from a very small school. The only reason I was able to do what I did was because of the weight room. And the only reason I'm still able to train at all at my old ass age is because of the system. So I'm trying to get more people out, trying to get it out to more people, and just trying to help as many people as we can with this. How early can kids start weightlifting? Excuse me. How early can kids start weightlifting? As soon as they show an interest. You have to make sure that they're technically proficient. I would make sure that they want to. Okay? Don't make it a chore. Make it fun. Make sure they're doing the movements right. And you don't have to kill them. Just teach them how to do the movements right. kind of make it fun, push them a little bit, do easy to do exercises and just bring up muscle groups that most people need. What strength goals should they meet before getting under the bar? My 9 and 12-year-old have started to express an interest in it. So you can get like 15-pound bars. You can use kettlebells. You can load young kids. Okay, you can kettlebells, dumbbells, a light and barbell. Awesome, thanks, bud. Here's my reasoning for this. Anything you do in the weight room will not be as stressful as running and jumping and playing a sport is to your kids or their joints or their musculature. So if you got to scale it back, make sure they're doing it right, and you can train. When and if my own kids start showing an interest, this is what we'll do. We'll just scale it. You may have to start with a 10-pound bar. You may have to start with 2-pound dumbbells, whatever. Just you can start them early. You're not trying to crush them. You're just training a little bit. Tax the muscle a little bit. Teach them form. And those two things you can get a training effect right from day one. All right. Well, I don't see many questions coming in. Sam, how's the progress of the high school kids I'm working with? It's really good. We've been doing this kind of structured program where I'm coming down every 4 to 5 weeks. We're going on our 3rd month now, and I'm super happy with the progress. We have a lot to do. We have a lot of progress that we can still make. But in that time, like their form is cleaned up. I said before, I would say as a whole, the overall proficiency of the group on their squat, I would say, is at 85%. So we have like maybe 10 or 15% of the kids that still need a little work. Probably the biggest thing that I saw today that we need to work on is knees coming forward or not having a perpendicular shin. But other than that, it's not terrible. So like overall, the form is really starting to clean up, which is good. It's kind of right on target for where I wanted to be. So now that we got that cleaned up, now we can start pushing. And we've been doing a little bit of heavy work, a little bit of max effort work here and there. I know it's not perfect, and that's fine. But if you can get your group at 85% proficiency, that's pretty good. We're knocking on 3 months now. So it's going well. So now we've kind of learned how to do the movements. Now we can learn how to train. So they've learned how to move. Now we're going to learn how to train and how to push intensity and how to push weights and those sorts of things. So I'm looking for some really big improvements in the next year. And I'm not talking about their maxes. I don't care what they lift. Just come in and train and push and do what you're supposed to do. And your sports results are going to take off and injuries will drop down. So we're doing well. The kids are doing a nice job. They're good kids. They listen. They're coachable. And the coaches that are working with them when I'm not here, it's obvious that they're being coached. Because I can see improvement without me having to say anything. I can take the first few minutes of the class and kind of step back and watch, and things are going well. So it's going well, man. It's going really well. All right. So I'm gonna cut this off unless anybody else got any questions. I will post this. Guys are coming back. That's awesome, man. Good job. Keep it up, dude. You're doing good stuff. I'm gonna post this. If any parents from Waverly see it and you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out. Let me know. I'm happy to talk. Anything you can do to help, let me know. Anything I can do to help, let me know. You can click on the thing here, the link, message me on Facebook. You can email me. It's nharvey@elitefts.net. Get a hold of me there. So get a hold of me. I'm always happy to talk training, always happy to answer questions. Thanks a lot for the questions, guys, that tuned in, and we'll talk to you later. I got to go get some dinner.